Public Order Act following the various engagements to which the former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, surely has found himself in, as on Friday, his meeting with the Catholic bishop in Kawe was curtailed by the police on grounds that the permission was not gotten. Hence the reason to why that engagement meeting with the bishop was surely curtailed. On the very day we saw the big headline in line with the jailing of Raphael Nakachinda of the PF for defaming President Hakainde Hichilema. On Saturday, the government held its press briefing as usual, but this time around there was a guest there in the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, in Honorable Jack Mwimbu, who did a feature, and of course he gave in various perspectives over the happenings in the country. One, the bigger conversation with regards to the registration of the United Kwacha Alliance, distancing rather the Registrar of Society that there has not been any formal application to have the UKA Alliance registered, and so the allegations are baseless. He also cited the factor with regards to police operations, saying that police have been operating professionally according to his assessment as the minister responsible of Home Affairs. And of course, he also touched on other areas to which this discussion will comprehend. Yesterday, the former president, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, was at Dunamis Church, which is headed by Danny Pule, who is a part of the United Kwacha Alliance. And of course, he made a statement that has gone viral. But of course, we'll be dissecting that statement with my studio guest this morning, who is a lawyer to speak from this particular front. And of course, he is also a member of the Patriotic Front, in Mr. Celestin Mukandila. Good morning, Mr. Mukandila, and welcome to Live Radio.
Good morning, my colleague, and good morning to the listener.
Thank you so very much for according us this opportunity to speak with you today, which happens to be a very interesting day as far as the front page of politics look like in Zambia. To start with, I might want to just get your overall interpretation of the Public Order Act, which has become now a thorn in the flesh of many.
Well, you see, the Public Order Act that we have today is one that has been for some time now, and it's always been sentiments of both the ruling and the opposition, and mostly the opposition political parties in the country, that law is one that is meant to curtail the right to assemble by many players in the opposition, and that is meant to curtail the freedoms of association by those who wield power. And it's been a very controversial piece of legislation. However, on several occasions, provisions of the Public Order Act have been challenged, and this has seen many members of the public and those in the private sector as private citizens challenging certain provisions of the Public Order Act in court. And we've got a plethora of cases where the Supreme Court has guided. The Supreme Court has guided as to what really entails to want to have a procession and to want to have a gathering of any thought. So we've had a couple of matters. For example, we had the Christine Mulundika case, wherein the Supreme Court guided the nation that there is no requirement for one to obtain a police permit in order for them to have a public procession, because the Constitution of the Republic has protected your right to freedom of assembly, your right to freedom of association, and your right to freedom of movement, as the case may be. So that case is one of the landmark cases that has guided on the issue of having public processions. Of course, we've had on several occasions abuse by the police, wherein the police would want to request people to have permits for them to gather. Albeit the Public Order Act has provided that the only thing that is required of you as an individual or a grouping to have that gathering is informing the police of your gathering. The moment you do that information to the police, then the police will need to ensure that they provide enough manpower or security to police the event. In an event where they do not have the manpower, in the process of informing the police, the Public Order Act has requested or has required that you may need to have an undertaking wherein you are indicating in your undertaking that you shall police the event and you've got enough manpower to marshal the event to ensure that it is peaceful as the case may be.
So several scholars in this country have actually indicated that the Public Order Act has been abused by several governments in trying to curtail the rights of assembly of many people. And that in itself is actually the truth, as the case may be. You have seen how much this act has been abused in this government, where public events are being curtailed, where individuals are being arrested for assembling as against constitutional provisions, wherein the police would make a statement indicating that there shall be no public rallies by opposition political players, and all that is in abrogation of provisions of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. So it is very much important for us to highlight the fact that there is no requirement for any person, according to the guidance given to us by many cases in the Supreme Court, that there is no requirement for any person to go and obtain a police permit in order for you to go and gather in any form as the case may be. All that is required is for you to inform the police and notify them. The working of the act is that there should be a notification. So in this case, I think it's extremely important that this act is not abused in any way, as is the case right now. It's very unfortunate that we have even seen the senior members of today's cabinet trying to justify illegal actions of the police. Very unfortunate. But as the case is, you see, we have made strides in trying to ensure that this Public Order Act does not curtail our improvements in the democratic fight and just the democratic space that we've tried to grow so much.
All right. In that respect, I acknowledge the fact that you have pointedly put it in line with how this act has been abused by various governments, which includes the PF, where you are coming from. And of course, it has become a matter of concern right now with the activities to which the former president is embarking on. Not so long ago, just recent events, let's look into the recent event. Not so long ago, the former president took a walk within the Central Business District to check on the prices of commodities. According to him, he wanted to survey with regards to how the high cost of living has hampered businessmen as well as women in the Central Business District. There was a warning that was issued by the police later in the day, on that particular day, reminding the former president that he is not above the law, so he should be able to conduct himself in an orderly manner, and that procession was illegal, which he carried. There was also another statement which came from the IG, Inspector General of Police, Grafa Musamba, warning of politicians that want to propel hooliganism as well as defying the law, reminding them that the police are on high alert, and if any, they will surely swing into action and apprehend such individuals. We did see the former head of state last week go to Central Province. He was in Kawe, and of course that meeting was disrupted. I might want to get a summary of the activities that the former president has been embarking on, as to whether really and truly the law enforcement agencies have the legal backing of their perspective towards the activities to which ECO has been carrying on without any sort of permission from the state police.
I think for me, the most important questions to ask the Zambian people, as well as to ask the police, is that, is President Lungu a Zambian citizen? And the answer is in the affirmative. He is a Zambian citizen. Is President Lungu a citizen that has got inalienable rights protected by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia? And the answer is yes. Now, what are these inalienable rights that he has? Amongst them, may I list them? Amongst them will include the right to freedom of assembly, the right to freedom of association, the right to freedom of religion, as the case may be. So, these are guaranteed rights. Now, the other question to be asked to the police is, are these rights amenable to be taken away from any individual without justifiable cause, as the Constitution may have provided for? And the answer is no. So, the question should be, why is it that our colleagues are trying to curtail the individual rights that the President of the Republic, the former President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, has? And these rights are guaranteed in the Constitution of the Republic. So there is no law that stops President Lungu from moving from point A to B. There is definitely no law that does that. And clearly, it has become so apparent that the actions of the police is showing that this country may be seen to be a police state now. This country's democratic space has shrunk to levels where human rights are no longer protected, because we saw even the rights of the Fourth Estate are no longer protected. We saw in Kabwe just recently, where President Lungu was visiting a bishop of the Catholic Church, where the police had to storm into an office of a private residence. Now, the question is, was there any justifiable reasons as to the storming of the police into an office of the bishop? Definitely not. If at all there is, or there was, the police by now would have effected arrests, because there is no need for the police to wait for an offense to be committed in order for them to effect an arrest. There is no need. So now the question is, what law did they have? What right did they have to even storm?
Utilizing the Kabwe incident as an example, I must believe that you took time to read the statement that the police issued, and they clarified that the security was meant to protect the former president, and that's the reason to why they decided, because they had concrete information with regards to intelligence information, that's obviously what they call them, with regards to the rallies to which ECL wanted to hold. And that's the reason to why they decided to dispatch a team of officers to ensure that security is uplifted in those areas.
You see, if at all the following of the former president was meant to secure him, I do not think it was going to be done in a manner in which it was done. Because everyone else knows, everyone saw what happened. You cannot decide to barge into a Catholic bishop's office without authority, or in the name of trying to protect or defend the president, the former president. That is totally unacceptable. There is no reasonable person who would assume that that was meant to protect the former head of state. That was clearly meant to intimidate the former head of state. It was meant to intimidate the people that were with the former head of state. It was meant to intimidate and harass the clergy. So I don't know what message this government is trying to send. But for me, I will tell you that My opinion is that that action was very unlawful, that action was very unconstitutional, and if no action is done to condemn that action by the police officer, and the police, I will simply indicate that it may have been summoned by the power that be. However, we saw a very partial apology that was sent to the Catholic
was that partial?
Church.
Was that partial?
So here is the thing. The apology was sent to the Catholic Church. Now the question is, was the bishop alone in that meeting? The bishop was with his guest, which guest appeared to be a former head of state. Why is it that the apology that was sent to the bishop was not extended to the former head of state? That's very hypocritical according to me. Okay. I will say that apology is very hypocritical. Because if you are going to apologize to one person, why not apologize to everyone? Because everyone else was injured in the process. Everyone else was put in immediate apprehension of fear that harm was going to be affected on their persons. So, for me, I will say that apology has to be revisited by the state. If they have to extend an apology, let them extend an apology even to the former head of state. Besides, as a matter of fact, he is a former head of state. We need to respect his space. We need to ensure that we respect his space, as is the case in other countries or other jurisdictions. All what we've been seeing is politicking. The fourth estate is equally under attack. Imagine journalists were detained in Kabwe during the same process because they were taking reporting on the incident. Why should you hinder the progress of democracy by affecting or attacking the fourth estate in that manner? It simply means that, colleagues, we are not safe. If that can be done to a former head of state, what more can be done to an individual like myself who's simply an esquire? There is more that can be done. So we need to really keep talking to these issues affecting our democracy, issues affecting the abrogation of human rights by the police and this government. It is definitely not right that we should sit quiet and let the law be abrogated by our colleagues without any recourse. So, and that is the reason why I keep insisting that the path in which the UPND government has taken is one which is extremely dangerous, that they are trading on thin ice, because the Zambian people are cleaning their voters' cards right now. God forbid that this government will be voted back into power in 2026. Because the reason is simple. You cannot vote for an oppressive government. The Patriotic Front was voted out of power because the people willed the power to vote, and they felt aggrieved by the behavior of the cadres in the PF. Now we've got a scenario where cadreism is now institutionalized into systems of government. And I'll do well to remind our colleagues in the police that political power can only be wielded for a period of 5 years, as contained in the Constitution of the Republic. And the 5-year term may never be renewed by the Zambian people. So colleagues, let's remain professional in the conduct or in the adherence of instructions given to us by the powers that be. I think it's also important that those instructions, as illegal as they may seem, have to be turned down. If not that, ensure that you let a senior-most person attend to them. Because, I mean, an illegal instruction remains an illegal instruction. And there are repercussions behind that. My colleague, brother and friend, the late Tutu Angulube, would actually indicate always to a police officer to say, my friend, we are going to share your pension if you are going to continue in the path you are taking. Because he's got the right. We all have the right to take on any erring police officer. Even what transpired in Kabwe, President Lungu has got the right to take on that police officer, and in fact share the pension of that police officer, because that was illegal.
Having said that,
Let's look into the statement that is obviously controversial, to which ECL made yesterday. And of course, I'll pick on this because you've talked on the power to the people. And of course, basing off that, ECL yesterday talked about 2026 being too far for an election, saying that the change of regime might happen even before 2026. He pointed to his clever friends, he said clever, whom he has within the United Party Alliance, the United Kwacha rather, Alliance, UKA, that they are intelligent as compared to the assertions that have been coming from the government, labeling them as jokers. And of course, he pointed to himself, comparing a dove as well as a serpent. This is something to which it has been capitalized upon. First and foremost, from your assessment, why has there been so much of obsession from the former president with regards to elections? Are we in a path that really and truly we need an early election right now? Because according to the many thoughts to which ECL has been bringing, it's been pointing to UPND that it has failed. And this is just the second and a few months of UPND being in authority. Why this obsession?
Well, you see, history has had it that in 1991, in fact in 1990 going to 1991, the Zambian people requested and demanded for early elections to be held. And at that time, President Kaunda had no choice but to call for early elections. And the reason was because of the many things that were happening then. Which included the high cost of living, prices of commodities were extremely high, to levels that the Zambian people could not comprehend. Freedoms of assembly, freedoms of associations, and all other freedoms were being curtailed. And you see, there comes a time when the oppressed will rise and indicate that enough is enough. So it is always important to remind the oppressor that power is wielded where it is thought to be wielded. And as a matter of fact, power in this country rests with the Zambian people. So if President Lungu will have an opinion that 2026 may be far away, of course, his opinion, whether questionable or not, remains his opinion. However, it is also important that from what he indicated, there are a lot of statements that he made. I picked on another statement which said that it is important to remind everyone else that we should be more scared of the people than individuals, which is a fact, because the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia is one which we, the people, had to come up with. When you look at the preamble of the Constitution, it says we, the people. Well, we may not indicate that early elections will be coming, but if President Hakainde Hichilema will feel that he has failed to the extent that the only other option remaining is for him to call for early elections, let it be so. Because clearly, in every reasonable person right now will know that the price of fuel has gone to 35, as against the promises that were made by this president in office, as he was showing us his table and his graphs, whilst in opposition. Every reasonable person will know to say there is failure by this government to ensure that they reduce on the price of millimil. It has moved to heights of 400 in other jurisdictions, other districts, and in Lusaka, I think we're buying it at 365 in other shops, and we've got of course, the ZNS millimil, which they are selling as 230. Is it 230? However, it cannot sustain the market. So the Zambian people have seen the failure of this government to ensure that there is medicine in all hospitals. The Zambian people have seen the failure of this government to ensure that electricity is provided in all households. And now, if I may borrow the wording or the words of the current president, where Wallace in opposition indicated that having electricity is now feeling like you are in possession of an illegal material or illegal substance, because we no longer know how long it is that we have electricity present. Now all we know is we're no longer having electricity in our homes because of failure in policy by this government, where ZESCO is now being politicized. It's been turned into a den of cadres by this government. As it's an allegation which I'm borrowing from President Hakainde Hichilema, whilst he was in opposition. This is exactly what he stated, that there is no justifiable reason as to why we should have load shedding today, because we've got countries or cities or states like Dubai, which is a desert, and they've got power 24/7. This president made that statement. Now that he's in the boat, now that he's in the seat, can he tell the Zambian people what he meant when he made that statement? Because clearly, for me, I will tell you to say it is failure on his part. Bad government policy, bad leadership, and that is the reason why we've got that happening. And this is exactly what he was saying. Can he tell the Zambian people why is it that today we have the police abusing the Public Order Act as against what he was voted on that basis? You know, he was voted on the basis that he's going to rule by the rule of law, and he's going to ensure that there is no abuse of the Public Order Act by the police. But what we are seeing is a complete 360-degree turnaround. Right. I don't know. We need to examine, we need to question the president with regards to how he has all of a sudden U-turned from his pledges and his promises.
All right. Just before I open the phone lines quickly, Mr. Mkandila, I would love to find out this from you. Obviously, this statement also brought in a couple of perspectives with regards to the former president reminding the government that they should be reminded that power belongs to the people. And of course, it is the people that yield the stance of change. In that particular respect, others feel he should be the last person to remind the state with regards to the power of the people, as he was being warned of the many catastrophes to which the country were experiencing under his watch. He did not take any decisive decision till he was booted out of power and realized that people's voices were very important. Others are looking to the statements that he's making with regards to the ills he's supporting in this government, to which they happened under his leadership, but nothing came out of him as mere jokes. Before we open the phone lines, do you feel the former president deserves to apologize to the public before they take him serious, especially with regards to his continued critics of the new Dawn administration? Because others are looking to his statements as jokes.
The question would be, how many times is the president, Dr. Lungu, going to apologize to the Zambian people? He came on several occasions apologizing to the people with regards to the way things were during his reign. And remember, it is not only Dr. Lungu who has apologized. Even the Patriotic Front, as a political party, equally went to the people and apologized. And I will remind you something. You see, the aftermath of the elections in 2021 required that as an organized political party, we needed to find out why we lost power as the Patriotic Front. And we conducted a vigorous postmortem as to why we lost power. And we realized that power rests with the people who vote people into power. And a lot of items were picked as to the reason why we lost power. And we went back to the Zambian people and apologized to say, colleagues, we have learned from these mistakes. And we are only hopeful that our colleagues in government today will not make similar mistakes as we made as they are ruling you. And we apologize for this. President Lungu is on several occasions, has been on several occasions apologizing to the Zambian people for that. However, it appears that history keeps repeating itself.
Okay.
Our colleagues do not learn from the experience of the PF. They don't learn from the experience of the UPN, of the MMD. They don't learn from the experience of UNIP. And all they're doing now is living in a bubble of the arrogance of power right now. They have forgotten where they come from. Colleagues have to be reminded that power rests with the people. Extremely, extremely important. So, having indicated that, you see, President Lungu has been in power for 7 years. He was head of state and president of the Republic of Zambia, and also commander-in-chief of the defense and armed forces in Zambia for 7 years. And his advice should be taken with the seriousness that it deserves. Because
Not as a joke.
this, not as a joke, that's why he was reminding them to say, you see, I've been president for 7 years. I'm advising you, you are saying I'm a joker. I mean, it does not make sense that our colleagues would decide to take such advice lightly. There is a way, these guys have decided to close themselves up. They don't want to listen to advice from the previous regime. They don't want, no justifiable person would refuse to listen to advice from people with experience. But what is happening is, colleagues, because of failure to accept the advice of the previous regime and previous ministers who held portfolios, today we have shortages of meal, we have shortages of grain, the food reserve is not as sufficient. Today we have shortages of medicines. Today we had a cholera pandemic which was beyond reproach. Today we have an economic situation in the country currently which is as good as the country being moving from auto conduct to crash mode. The economy is doing extremely bad because our colleagues don't want to listen to sound advice from people with experience. Now, the behavior they have is that of a person who knows it all. But you see, no one holds monopoly over knowledge.
Okay.
We are telling our colleagues to say, listen, President Lungu is one who's been in office. We understand that many are the times when he would not listen to certain people telling him things, but because he decided to listen to a minute group of people, certain errors were made.
Right.
But he has learned from that. And he's taught the Zambian people to say, yeah, I've learned from my experience. And I'm going to offer myself again as an alternative to these bureaucratic, that is autocratic tendencies that we're experiencing today. I will offer myself as an alternative. In Salaika Pua.
All right.
Not why have we turned Zambia into a capitalist economy?
If Lungu was brought back as a president,
for me, I will tell
Salaika
you. For me, I will tell you as a matter of fact, not that we need to try and overpromise, but I will tell you as a matter of fact that Zambia is not supposed to be considered as a capitalist economy, because we cannot sustain the poverty of the Zambian people.
All right, let's accommodate a few calls before we end the conversation. The number that you might want to surely participate on is 0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. This is the local top story segment. We're discussing the Public Order Act, and of course asking the question of whether it is being abused by the New Dawn administration or probably the Mingalatos, to which ECL is seen playing are just too much. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you from?
This is Comrade Mukosa.
All right, Comrade Mukosa, please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Randila.
Good morning, Comrade Mukosa.
Yes, good morning, sir. Let me tell you, Comrade, that it is very difficult for Zambian people to take Edgar Lungu serious. Today he apologizes, tomorrow he tells the nation that I'm a serpent, I'm a snake. Can you imagine? And when you look at what he did Namansama Benekaunda, and other things that were happening in these markets, how cutters were brutalizing innocent Zambians, widows, bus drivers. Really, when somebody tells you that I'm a shepherd, you agree to say, maybe that's why such things were happening. Now, when you are saying the current government is not taking the advice from the PF serious, what type of advice can you give to the UPND when it comes to the economy? Because for you, the economy that we had during your term was a fake economy. Because all the money that was circulating, which was in the country, was borrowed money. There is nothing that you came up with, or a policy that you can point at as a country that you implemented as PF that benefited the majority Zambians.
As you conclude, in conclusion?
As I conclude, there is nothing that the Zalong and PF can bring back or can do to this country, because Congola, you had to come up with a policy of stopping all the projects that were 80%.
Brother Mkosa, where are you calling us from?
Because you did that money.
He says within Lusaka.
Brother Mkosa, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from within Lusaka.
Within Lusaka. Okay, just not to be discriminatory, are you Christian?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please go and read the book of Matthew 10, verses 16 to 18. Any version of the Bible. Then you will understand the statement that President Lungu made as a Christian. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, let's proceed. Putting my Bible verse in. You're still to live radio, Mr. Elvis. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Tauka Mushe.
Yeah, that's speaking very well. Which government is going, and it is going for good, it will never come back. Whether they want it or not, the people are just waiting for 2026 so that we take out this useless government. This government has been very brutal.
Elvis, I'll not allow you to use radio-friendly language. What do you mean when you say useless government?
Useless. I'm saying useless, not useless. Useless.
Okay.
It means we are brutal. Do you understand English?
I hear you. Proceed,
Yeah.
please.
It's a very useless government which has made the people to suffer. You imagine, I came here yesterday so much. I've been out for 2 weeks. I was in the Wafula province. What I've seen here is the poverty inflicted by this government. The people there are suffering. There's no life. There's no life here. So much. If you look at this government today, the things Mr. Mukandila is talking about, these are the things the UPND is condemning. All those statements Mr. Mukandila is talking about, when coming from his excellence, the only president who has changed has brought democracy. When democracy was brought back in 1991, this is a government with Thomas, which has failed to even reduce the price of the minimum. This is a government with Thomas, which is promised to every on earth.
As you conclude, in conclusion,
this is a government with Thomas, which has brought a brutality whereby opposition political members are being arrested every day.
as you conclude, Elvis,
This is a government whereby a policeman could disturb the state and disrupt the meeting and everyone is ready.
All right.
This is the government to come out and create the government
Elvis.
to the land. We
All right.
to restore rule of law, and yet it has continued to breaking the rule of law.
all right. Elvis, thank you so very much. 2 minutes is what I'm giving you. Hello, Comrade Zulu, you're to live radio.
Thank you very much, comrade. Good morning, the panel.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, this is Comrade Zulu. I'm calling you from Sinda here. I'm following the debate via Radio Garden and Facebook.
Comrade Zulu, I'm giving you 2 minutes to surely participate. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, comrade. Yeah, quickly, comrade. You see, when I was campaigning for UPND, it is because UPND said they want to restore the rule of law. And it is the same rule of law that these people have started ripping apart again. When you are to look at, comrade, what is happening, what I expected was President S.S. going to make more sense if the same energy is going to be shifted on better in the heads of the Zambians. So it has nothing to do with bettering of the economy, like the way he was complaining about saying, no, people are going to bed hungry and they are not sleeping. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with fixing Eddie Garungu. This Public Order Act, he was supposed to enact it the moment he came into power and say, no, like the same way he said, he talked about the issue of defamation. He removed the issue of defamation of character. That's why was Nakatinda sent to jail over the same defamation, which is hypocritical. You see? So when we are talking about issues to do with the nation, we have to be sincere and we have to be realistic. Let us not be hide behind the finger. It is not going to help us. Thank you very much, comrades. Work well.
All right, thank you so very much for your submission. You're Total Live Radio. Hello. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Absolutely fine. Whenever is it?
Whenever from the line.
All right, 2 minutes is what you have.
Good morning, whenever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not talking about today, the no, I don't know the feeling because the government is totally in power. I never see Matia Gas. I mean, there's a real miracle on that. I mean, I was talking about it up. And if you say you want to come back, which means the Babylon Church, I mean, if you're not cheating, if you're putting Matia Gas, if you're putting Mongalia Market, if you're putting Mongalia, Richard Field, there are many things that someone I'm going to quit because of this thing. Now, if you say, Bantua Pandara, Sondara, and I see either, I'm going to see that okay. If you're the number of hours, okay, I will see what would you present, my lady, many is not in the so sometimes, if it's critics in the Ramazuama, but it's clear from the Bingamene, the Latin among Mazambi. We are always walking away there. That you will very much up with here. When you go cheaper, but then you was out much cheaper than man in a family of the economy. I mean, let's see a beautiful non maker. Well, let's see a piece, I mean, a few. This time, my can go anywhere, or maybe from a Vienna. You are paid a few gas, you are paid a one in May. So sometimes we just take a solution. Now, in a time I will come back.
All right.
But I still just to watch a piece, I mean, in Ireland.
All right, so Mr. Mkanda, I'll pick one final caller, then give you an opportunity as we conclude. 0977-624270. We are looking into the Public Order Act, and of course, our assessment this morning is whether the Public Order Act is being abused or probably ECL is just playing too much of Mingalato. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, what?
Mauka.
Bueno, tauka mushe kai mwe.
Commander, please go ahead. All right, let me read out this message here finally. Afroman morning, as a Zambian, that man speaks like a lawyer. He's actually a lawyer. He's so articulate, so composed to the point and clear. Zambians are listening. We are behind ECL and we need him to come back to control the economy. UPNDI, MES and the
West government ever. They lack experience is, and they close their ears even after seeing they are now living up to reality. Even in their closed eye state, Zambia has become so big for UPND they can't realize it. It's like all their energies are targeted at ECL. Unlike fixing the economy, please leave ECL alone and work for Zambians. Dongo Justin in 10 miles. As we conclude, Mr. Mkandila.
Yeah, you see, from the writings and scripts of Plato, Plato has argued that insecurity and fear are gateways to tyranny. And he has further indicated that future tyrants very often present themselves as a protector of the people. Imagine the way the presentation was for President Hakainde when he was campaigning. Mm-hmm. He presented himself as a protector of the people's rights, to speak to issues to do with human rights, mm-hmm. violations and all. But it's also important that colleagues should realize that when you're dealing with individuals who are not religious in nature, mm-hmm. people who don't want to understand that there is a God who we have to worship, there is religion involved in things, where we have Christians, we've got Muslims, we've got Jews and all. They will not understand how people would speak. Yesterday, President Lungu was at a Christian event, wherein he stated certain statements where he says, I'm as sleek as a serpent and as humble or as a dove. But people need to read the book of Matthew 16. Matthew 10, verse 16, chapter 10, verse 16 to 18, which says, behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So you see, the Bible is, we are dealing with a religious person, a person who's a Christian, who's even decided during his reign to build a temple, a house of God. But right now, when you go to Kabwata there, my brother, you will find that house of God has been abandoned, because we are clearly dealing with individuals who really don't believe in the teachings of the Lord. Further to this, I will indicate that, you see, if our colleagues will argue that President Lungu damaged the status of the economy, I will come and tell everyone to say, if President Lungu's worst, last Itabe worst, minimum we would buy it at 150, 120. I think I would rather go with the worst. If President Lungu's worst,
which happens not to be where he found the price of minimum.
If President Lungu's worst, my brother, is where we buy petrol or diesel at 35 kwacha, at 17 kwacha, but now the best, at his best, President Hakainde, we are buying petrol at 35, then I would rather stick with the worst. And as a matter of fact, you look at the increase in these pricings in barely 2.5 years, or should I say 3 years, this government has increased prices of commodities by over 100%. But when you look at the previous regime of President Lungu, you saw how prices were maintained. So, even though certain prices were found at a certain level below, but there was no point where prices would increase to over 100%.
So
let's be realistic.
What commodity are we looking into in being realistic as you put
as realistic as we can be, we were buying fuel at 16.75 during President Lungu's worst time, according to these UPND praise singers. But I'm saying at President Hakainde's best, because they have said he's the best leader of all times, we are buying fuel at 35 kwacha. That is 2 times the amount plus. So very unfortunate. So if we are going to say the best of President Hakainde is what the Zambian people have been subjected to, I am sorry, I would rather stick to the worst.
Right.
Now, further to this, it is also very crucial for the Zambian people to remember that We shall not speak from without. We will speak from within the happenings in the country. President Hakainde Hichilema's leadership has failed, as a matter of fact. Have they given us what they promised us? Zero. The answer is zero, because they've done a 360-degree turnaround.
There's
nothing. Look at your rights. My brother, as a journalist, your right as a fourth estate, you are not protected today.
You're not being sincere if you're saying UPND has done nothing.
Can we be realistic?
Out of their promises.
Can we be realistic?
You will be reminded of meal allowances, you'll be reminded of CDF, you'll be reminded of employment, you'll be reminded of free education.
Can we be realistic? Today, as we are talking, the constituency for Honorable Milupi, right now, people are complaining over the corruption surrounding the CDF. The constituency for Honorable Miles Sampa, he is complaining over the allocation of CDF projects.
Which constituency is Honorable Milupi coming from? From what I know is...
I mean, from...
is a minister from a political party.
No. So this is the finance minister I meant.
Stumbeko
Msokotwane. So there are a lot of... These are issues that are in the public domain, where people are complaining over the corruption. So it is clear that there is institutionalized corruption that has resulted from this CDF enhancement, and they have missed it because there are scripts that we came up with as to how CDF was to be allocated and how CDF was to be increased. Those things started way back. The same way that today someone will come and tell the Zambian people to say, no, I have succeeded in restructuring Zambia's debt. Bwana, that process started a long time ago. It was just a matter of when it was going to be done. And it was just a matter of when and not who was going to do it.
Okay. But the PF didn't do it.
But it was a matter of when. It was in the process, in the pipeline.
All right. Mr. Mkandila, as we end the conversation going forward, speaking now from a lawyer's perspective, what is it that you might want to suggest? Yesterday, the Law Association of Zambia issued a statement, obviously condemning the abuses that they've seen with regards to citizens' rights right now. And of course, they also condemned the police action to curtail the meeting that the former president was having with the Catholic bishop. Speaking as a lawyer who's also affiliated to the Law Association of Zambia, what is it that you're looking forward to seeing from the UPND administration with regards to it maintaining the stance towards upholding the constitution as well as the privileges to which we do have as the citizens of upholding the rule of law as well?
I think, as indicated by the Law Association of Zambia, condemning the action of the police, I think it's also very important that I will indicate that I support that statement wholeheartedly coming from our association, because that is what the association stands in for, the protection of individual rights and ensuring that democratic tenets are seen to be achieved. We've moved so much into the process of achieving this democracy that this government is shrinking. And you see, it is extremely important that the Zambian people should remember that we have hope in a law that will stand in for the rights of the Zambian people. As a body of lawyers, I think there is so much hope that we have in a law to give guidance to government. And remember, LAS is not politicking. LAS is very much non-partisan. LAS has got a mandate to ensure that they give guidance to the government of the day. And what is happening is guidance was given, and it is only hopeful that this government will take that guidance with the seriousness it deserves, because as a democracy, we hope for the best to ensure that our democratic tenets are upheld, to ensure that the human rights of individuals are protected.
All right. Thank you so very much for coming to.
Thank you very much for having me.
There you have it. This is a local top story segment.
Stories discussing topics making headlines in the local newspapers around Zambia. Local top stories.
Jurisdiction Russia harms the environment, but